Welcome to Pianohaus Trübger, a traditional, historic piano showroom in Hamburg, Germany, that first opened its doors in 1872. With me today for an interview is the beautiful and incredibly talented young jazz singer Alexandra Rotmann. Welcome, Alexandra.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited.
So, Alex, my first question to you comes not from me, but from the artistic director and conductor of the esteemed Kansas City Jazz Orchestra, Clint Ashlock. And Clint is also an accomplished trumpetist, and he was featured on my podcast, Language and Culture with Dr. J, in the episode entitled Jazz. And Clint, it makes sense, right? And Clint would like to know, what was the catalyst that brought you to jazz music? Was it an artist, a recording, a teacher? And especially since you come from outside of the United States, and something I'd like to add, especially since you come from a long line of classical musicians, your father being an opera singer, your mother a classical pianist, and your sister a violinist. I have really sort of easy, short questions.
Yeah, makes sense. So, you know, in every family, there's always a rebel. I wouldn't consider jazz to be particularly rebellious, but my grandfather on the paternal side, he was a jazz musician, and I think it was kind of meant to be. It was kind of written in the stars for me to love jazz as much as I do. And when I was younger, obviously, music had always such a huge influence on my life. Opera, classical music, which I must say, I despised classical music as a child. And it was very difficult for me to find myself in the world of opera and of violin music and stuff. And then as I grew older, I started exploring more genres. And, you know, I am a huge fan of all sorts of Black music. And so it was kind of a natural transition from listening to, you know, hip hop with my dad in the car. It was really funny when we were driving off from the opera house, and he would put on some good old school 90s West Coast beats like 50 Cent or stuff like that. And then I think this kind of transitioned over into exploring other genres. And jazz was, I don't know, it just spoke to me. It spoke to my soul, spoke to my voice. And I think a funny thing that you mentioned with that outside of the US, why do people care for jazz? First of all, of course, there was a huge influence of jazz on the Soviet Union. All of the movies, all of the cartoons, no matter what I was watching, it was always full of jazz. And I always had my whole life, and I'm saying this with all my love in my heart, I had a huge fascination with America. Ever since I was a child, I was, looking up different cities and different counties and stuff like that. And I think that was also the reason why it was so easy for me to learn English as well as I did. And yeah, I think jazz and the US and all sorts of Black music, it just speaks so deeply to my soul that I can't really picture myself doing anything else. Like R&B, jazz, sure, but it's kind of all in the same pot. It's like a different soup, but from the same ingredients.
Thank you. That's a beautiful answer. And Clint, I hope you're watching this, and I expect the reaction from you. So I actually structured the questions around your musical heroes, musical muses. We already exchanged the information. I had a little quiz, sort of the... I had you fill out a questionnaire before, so here we go.
Sign my name in blood and everything like that.
So one of your musical muses or heroes is the late opera singer Jessye Norman, who very much valued jazz and let her own interpretation of musical scores be influenced by her connection to jazz. And in 2000, she released a jazz album called I Was Born in Love with You. in collaboration with Michel Legrand. And in 2010, another one called Roots, My Life, My Song. And then there's, of course, her famous performance at the Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland, in which she plays with, along with a jazz band. And I'm sure you know it. So, so she went from opera to jazz. Do you think you might ever cross over to opera, perhaps later on in your career? And if so, what would it take to do so, both vocally and emotionally?
This is a very awesome question.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It really is. It's such an interesting concept. My whole life has been connected to opera, and I think I'll never be able to loosen this connection. I love opera so much for the vast creativity and this artistic freedom that you're sometimes able to express. While it's like on sheet music, it's still so free in the interpretation. It's so up to you. It's never really in some borders, you know, it's not in a box. And Jessye Norman, I found her when I was, you know, exploring more about my absolute favorite opera of all time, Samson Dalila by Camille Saint-Saëns. And when I found her interpretation of the Mon cœur s'ouvre à ta voix, I was like, oh my God, I was blown away.
I got goosebumps when you said that.
I was blown away, and I didn't really understand how to put it into words at first, but I think this is the freedom of jazz in the world of opera, what she did with that.
I'm getting goosebumps, really.
Oh, thank you. Would I ever be able to transition to opera vocally? I don't think so. I don't think I have what it takes. I always say that deep inside of me there's a fat little diva. She's, you know, like the Carlotta from Phantom of the Opera. She is there. She is living inside of me, and she's begging to be there. But my voice is like, no, girl, you gotta stay a dream. But what I would absolutely love to do is connect my life to opera as well as jazz and R&B. And if someday I would be able to direct operas, which is a dream of mine, and
which you have done.
I have been on a lot of director teams, and that the whole stress and sometimes just the pain of creating something from scratch, while it's like a love-hate relationship. You hate it, but when it's done, you're like, I want to do it again, and I'm gonna do it again. And I hope my whole life is going to be connected to the theater and to opera. And actually, if I may end this question with this quote, I am an immigrant. I'm just gonna drop that right now already.
We'll get to that in a second, but
I am an immigrant, and I don't really consider myself.
I'm sorry, it's really interesting because you were born in Germany and you still consider yourself an immigrant.
Exactly.
Let's go ahead and ask.
We'll get there. But I am an immigrant, and I never felt like I truly had a home somewhere. I do feel like, you know, my parents' house or something like that, but I was once talking to my great-grandmother, and I was a wee child back then. She passed away when I was 10. And I was, I think, 8 or something, and I told her about that feeling, and she said, well, you know how you always hate going to the opera house and how you don't really like being there and stuff? And I'm like, yeah. And she said, someday in the future, that is going to be your home, because no matter where you'll be in the world, you'll be always able to buy a ticket to go to the opera house, and there you'll find home. And thinking back to it, she was so right. She was so wise, and she said it so perfectly.
Oh, I'm sorry, I think that's oh my God, I don't know if we keep this.
I did not expect that.
I think that's really the beauty of especially something like opera or ballet or symphonic music. I think it's that's
It's
beautiful
whole.
that you say that, and we'll come back to that, and I hope I can pull it together here. That's beautiful. Timothy Chalamet.
When you're listening to that,
Yes.
and I hope you are.
Oh.
What are you on, man? What's going on?
Timothy Chalamet, opera can be a home to everyone. All right, let's move on. All right. So Nina Simone is another artist you admire greatly.
Definitely, yes.
And she felt very strongly about not being labeled a jazz singer. She wanted to be known as a Black classical musician. I mean, she very much fought for, she was a classical pianist, and she fought against this label. What is your complex interpretation of this marriage between classical music and jazz?
Oh my God. First of all, again, awesome question. I
do what I can. I do what I can.
Classical music and jazz music, I think it's so interconnected, but there's this teeny tiny change that, sometimes changes everything. It's like when a comma or like a period. And I think jazz is a comma and classical music is a period, It's
an interesting way to see it. What do you think is something that you would not want to be labeled as? Where would you say, no, that I don't want to be labeled as that?
I don't really think there is something like, because I've been called so many things. I've been called a musical theater singer. Like that, I think I'm not. That if someone would be coming up to me and being like, "Oh, you are 1,000% like Broadway sort of singer," that I'm not at all. When people tell me that I'm just purely jazz singer, it's also not true completely, because when you're surrounded by jazz connoisseurs, and there's a very specific part of people that are like, that wasn't jazz, that was soul, So there's a very specific terminology going around. As I said, I'm very loose and very free. So if someone calls me a jazz singer, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I'm a jazz singer. But if I'll start doing, like those Aretha Franklin stuff, or like the Etta James growls or vocal fries, like, don't come at me. You called me a jazz singer. I think I wouldn't want to be labeled as a pop artist, simply because I don't think I have so much respect for pop music. I have a respect for all art forms. Again, it's like I can't imagine, except for AI art. I'm sorry, I have to say that I don't have any respect for AI artists. But when it comes to like pop music, I just don't think I have what's in, what it takes to be a pop musician. So R&B, jazz, you can tell me I'm soul singer. I don't think I'm a gospel singer, but if someone would start labeling
we'll
me,
ask Clint Ashlock. Clint, you have to label her somehow.
Please.
And then we'll see.
I want to know,
because he is an absolute expert on. I'm curious what he's going to say.
Me too, please.
All right, so I tend to have long questions, so here's another one. I'm going to go on with comparisons to artists that you admire, and you admire the late rapper Tupac Shakur. And a lot of people don't know that he actually went to the Baltimore School of the Arts and studied acting and poetry and jazz and ballet. And there was a sophistication and a depth to his art that I think a lot of people aren't or weren't aware of. And on the surface, you are an extremely attractive, sexy, blonde, young singer. And a lot of people just see that. We were talking about that earlier before the interview about that. So, but you are also, and people should know, a certified graphic artist. You have worked as a video producer. You have worked as a director on different teams for operas. Going back to your graphic artist activities, you're actually working on your first graphic novel, which you, of course, you still play with this blonde identity. So you provocatively want to call it bimbo.
Yes, exactly.
You have worked with Seraphine Noir, have done the vocals for several of their songs, and have been very successful with that. With
thank God,
really millions of downloads and streams. You are a songwriter, a poet, and you know how to produce music.
Yeah.
Tupac Shakur, on the one hand, exhibited this rough public persona. And on the other hand, he had this hidden, sensitive, intellectual, almost philosophical side. What are these two sides of Alexandra Rotmann?
Awesome question. Oh my God, this is really perfect. So you said it right. People see what they want to see, and most of the time they see a blonde woman, sexy, and you know, a lot of the times this kind of stands in the way, because the way that I look sometimes diminishes what I know, especially when you're working around a lot of men and a lot of those who are hardened in what they think is right and what you're supposed to do. So they start thinking of me as like this ditzy, blonde kind of bimbo, this role that Marilyn Monroe played a lot of times as well. And exactly. And I know how to play that. And it helps so many times. When you're like, you woke up and you have to get someone to do something for you. And you're like, I don't really know how to. I'm sorry. I'm just blonde and stupid. But
see, you play with this.
I play with this.
Tupac also wanted to have this image in this person. So
it's very useful.
It is also something that you use, that you promote. So but go on, please.
What people don't really know, and only it's like the closest people closest to me know, I am not at all fun. I am deeply serious, and I take my craft very serious. And when I do something, I do it 150% and never less than that. I don't really like, the life of a party. Like sometimes I think that I've already lived all that, or maybe it's somewhere so far in the future that I don't really feel like living it now.
I've experienced you at several events and several parties as well.
Yeah.
And if I may say this, most of the time you're there with your parents.
I am, yes. I love my parents.
Yeah, but they're great too.
They're my biggest, hugest supporters. And my family is such a huge rock behind, behind me. I can fall back onto that. I know that I won't ever fall down. I'll fall back onto something.
So let's go back to a question that kind of came up with you saying sort of I'm an immigrant, and my question starts with Ella Fitzgerald, also someone you greatly admire, and she spoke about how music is the universal language. And this got me to thinking sort of, yes, music is the language that connects us all, that we can all communicate with each other through. But there are different types of connection, aren't there? I mean, there are different levels, different depths of connection.
Exactly.
And I just did an interview last week with Leon Gorvich and Alexandra Rotmann. And one of the things that they emphasized was how their Belarusian roots automatically give them certain level of understanding, that there's just like this unconditional, automatic understanding. And this was in relation to their concert, or Leon's concert, Echoes of Chagall, and Chagall being also from Belarus. And so there was this, and then they used Shimanovich as a poet, and they said, just the fact that they're all Belarusian, it just kind of created such an automatic understanding. And so you speak about being an immigrant, and you were born in Germany, so yeah, technically you're German. I mean, this for those who follow me know that I struggle with that as well. I mean, I was born in Romania, my parents are Hungarian, I grew up in Texas, and then I studied everywhere else. Yeehaw, there we go. And so, what is it? Is it nationality? Is it blood lineage? Is it an association? Sort of, is it something that you actually how you love America? Is it also something like a love for a certain culture or something? But you feel very much Eastern European. You say you feel very much Slavic. Your family is Ukrainian, although you do have roots in Lithuania and Poland and Russia and sort of all over. And you spent all of your holidays in Ukraine. Really, you told me that you spent all of your holidays.
Almost all of them, yeah.
So you basically grew up there. So, universal language, immigrant, multiple identities or national identities. And I was thinking, do you maybe produce something, and you can see here I wrote it down in really big so I could read it.
Yeah.
Do you maybe produce something like Slavic jazz?
That is such a cool thing. I've never thought about that. No, I never did. I never did think about that. I think, yeah. I think everything that I produce and all the music that I do really is through a lens of what I've experienced, is through a lens of who I am, where I came from, where my parents came from. Wherever I am, whatever I'll be doing in my life, I think I'll always have this carpet on the wall sort of thing. It's a very Slavic thing, and we had that too. Carpet on the wall. And this feeling of you have
I have
nothing.
a carpet on my wall
Yeah,
too.
really. you have nothing and everything sort of way.
I never thought that was my Eastern European
It is your
identity.
It is coming back. So yeah, I think no matter what I'll be doing, I'll
always have a carpet
always
on the
have
wall.
a carpet on the wall. Exactly.
All right, so let's get to the song that you just released. And you say that this is the culmination of your life's work so far.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And you wrote the music, the lyrics, you produced the song, and it's entitled Habit. And I wonder if you would perform the song or parts of the song first. I don't know how much is completely possible without background music, but and then we'll chat about it in a second. So
Yeah,
whenever you're ready, take it away.
What's a habit got on me? 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 What's a habit if not days of gentle longing, of remembering every glance and every moment from the moment he turned around to the moment you was lost and found. It's a habit to miss him, it's easy, I know she'd understand. You don't know if that's love or if it's just a man. I'd be so unnerving, silent so loud. That's what a habit is all about. What's a habit got on me? What's a habit got on me? What's a habit got on me?
Thank you so much. Oh my
so
God.
awesome.
I have never heard you sing a cappella, so
Yeah.
it's always been, you've always been accompanied by a pianist
Yes,
or by,
yes,
by
yeah,
music or several musicians.
Yeah.
Breathtaking, absolutely. Oh,
Thank you so much.
my goodness.
Thank you so much.
You're a diva. Beautiful song too.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Really
I
awesome.
am so proud of it. I really am. This is the first time I'm not, humbling myself down, and I'm really saying I'm so proud of myself.
Well, you should be proud of yourself. It's absolutely well deserved. I wish you success with the song and continued success with your career as well. One last question. I know that for you, ultimate success is continuing to work as a solo artist. You like collaborating with other artists, but you want to be a solo artist. And you maybe dream of one day owning jazz clubs / gallery, something that promotes indie artists, young artists.
Yeah.
So here is a two-parted question, because I can't just ask a simple yes or no.
We found each other here.
There you go. How do you think you will change as an artist over time? You know, you're 25 years old. I mean, you will.
I will,
automatically.
definitely.
And if you hope to continue to
You will
develop as an artist,
change,
you have to change.
Definitely.
So how do you think you will change as an artist over time? And what is your ultimate goal, the pinnacle of success that you see out there ahead of you?
I think I'll change musically. I'll just develop myself more. I hope I'll find people that will be able to understand what I want to do, and they'll be able to help me and, you know, kind of push me through some doors that I wasn't aware even existed.
It always takes certain people to recognize you and help you along, and give you those little breaks,
little moments. Just even just like a word of like, this is good, you should do that, you know. And I hope that I'll change, and I hope that I'll develop an artistic style, a musical style that will be, you know, associated with myself, that someone will be like, oh, this sounds so much like Alexandra Rotmann, like, or you're dressing exactly like Alexandra Rotmann today. Will that ever happen? I don't know. I hope so. My dream is to one day stand on stage with an insanely huge crowd in front of me, singing my songs back at me, with my parents backstage, knowing that they're safe and secure, knowing that I've given them the life.
Girl, you keep making me want to cry.
I'm sorry, but I want them to be always proud of me, and I know they already are, but I want them to be proud of me. I want them to stand backstage and my dad to take pictures for his colleagues and be like, I'm here. Yeah, I told you guys she's going to do it. And I want to be able to sleep peacefully at night. That's all I want. Whatever it takes, I will get there.
I've never had an interview guest make me cry, and you've done it twice.
Oh my God.
With that, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Pianohaus Trübger, and thank you, Alexandra Rotmann.
Thank you so much, Henriette.